So live, we rolling.
We are live.
The Tattooist of Auschwitz
By
Heather Morris.
I had no idea.
I always know.
I have no idea who this was by.
It's like a running thing that we do. I'm always gonna know. First of all, what did you think?
It's worth reading. So if you
Definitely
haven't,
worth reading.
feel free to read it.
I think
But
it's
if
worth
you
reading.
aren't going to read it, then don't worry. We've read it and we're going to tell you exactly what happens, chapter by chapter, plot by plot.
Literally.
So
play by
yeah,
play,
but
frame by frame.
if for anyone who doesn't know,
Yeah.
Auschwitz was a death camp run by Nazis and Hitler, where they would exterminate Jews. They'd exterminate Jews. And one of the most sobering facts is that 1.3 million Jews were taken to Auschwitz and 1.1 million were killed. So, it's very serious. And only 6 months ago, they found a mass burial site in Germany. It was a cremation site. And they found 8,000 people. They found the DNA of 8,000 people in that one site. Because they started, after they gassed them, they cremate them. Because there was no space in the ground.
Yeah.
They ran out of space. They didn't know where to put the Jews. So, yeah. But yeah, let's get into the book.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Go for it.
44 seconds into the book, and we are met with our first piece of indoctrination. The main character says, tattooing the arms of men is one thing, but defiling... It's the cat again. Defiling the bodies of girls is another. It's interesting how the different terms are used for the same thing. Tattooing is meant for the men and defiling is for the little girls. Why is it worse for women and children to be murdered or tattooed than it is for men? To me, there's no difference. One could argue that losing the breadwinner of the house is much worse than losing that annoying sibling. Joseph.
Look at Joseph in brackets.
Joseph.
No,
I wrote this like a week ago. I need to remember the joke.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it happens like that. Sometimes I put some stuff in brackets. Should I say the beginning bit or should I just skip it?
Oh yeah, go on then.
Yeah, you forgot it,
Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, you started. I was literally just like, it's on the roll. But so essentially, the beginning of the book, in Nazi-occupied Europe, a young Slovak called Lale is sent to work in a concentration camp as part of Hitler's mandate to conscript one member of each Jewish family. Although initially at the mercy of the German officers, the SS, along with his peers, he is soon taken under wing of the Tattooverer, a Frenchman called Pepin, who's charged with branding Auschwitz's prisoners with their identifying numbers. Lale gains a soft spot for a young woman he has marked. So that's basically what happens at the beginning. My first point is, my respect for Lale has already been established. So let's hope as the story goes on, it appreciates and does not depreciate.
So why did you have respect for him?
Because I said a man's job is to protect and provide for his family. When the Nazis came knocking, he did his duty and sacrificed himself for his family. Now, what if this happened today? Would the men do the same thing? Would the women do the same thing?
Well,
would the women step up and be like, we've been talking about equality for so long, now we need to step up and put our money where our mouth is, show what our words are worth.
It depends how I'm feeling and what I identify as on the day.
Do you see what I'm saying? Well, now we've opened a door to this, nothing means anything. Nothing means anything because we've opened a door to this now.
It's funny actually because a news article came out. I didn't read it, but I saw the headline and it basically said scientists have proved that male and female brains are definitively different. So there is they basically, kind of just shat on the transgenders who say there's no difference. But I've read books. I've actually read actual books by scientists that explain the differences between the brains of the male and females.
But that's the funniest thing. It's not secret. This news is not. It's not buried. But the thing is, some of these things that we say in the media or we see in the media, they're not based on any facts whatsoever. Yeah, some of these. So you can't be disproven with facts.
That's is it my turn?
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting how the writer is doing his absolute best to get us hooked immediately. Not that he has to. It's Auschwitz. We know what we signed up for, but he's painting the picture of a scared little girl to pull on our heartstrings to get us to pay attention. So when he was saying, defiling the bodies of a young girl, that's wrong. Tattooing the men's arms, that's fine though.
Yeah, because men died in World War II. Obviously, it wasn't just men, but I'm just saying, let's just say, if we could say just in combat, men was just dying. 18, 19-year-olds dying. It was literally just normal at that point, just men dying. So a little tattoo, you're good, don't worry. Relax. You know where you are. I put, the brutality of the Nazi concentration camps just shows how Nazi Germany was able to become the most powerful entity in Europe, which they should never have been able to do in such a short space of time considering the state their economy was in. After the First World War, Germany were forced to sign a treaty that made them take responsibility for the war and put them on the hook for reparations. They borrowed money from the US, and things got worse for them after Wall Street crashed in 1930 and debtors started asking for their money back. This desperation provided the Nazi Party a viable platform for Hitler's extremist views, and by 1944, 1/4 of the German workforce was slave labour. As the USA proved with the Great Atlantic Slave Trade, labour that is not being paid for is the fastest route to rapid, profitable expansion. So with that being said, is slavery the greatest economical strategy of all time? It's both arguably the two greatest nations of the last 500 years. Are we stupid for not having slaves?
Well,
It's a good question, isn't it?
yeah, well, you know, I don't know what to say. I mean,
a good
obviously, look, it's funny because there's a way, instead of slavery, there's another method which could be used to propel the human race into the future, and it's called communism. It's basically, it's not slavery, but it's fair slavery.
Yes,
but this is another topic.
Where everyone's a slave.
Everyone gets equal treatment, and no one's special.
Well, that's real equality. What we talk about in the West, that's what they have in the East is real equality. As in nobody owns anything, nobody's rich, nobody's poor.
Where's that though?
What communism I'm saying? Concept of communism.
Yeah. Well,
that's real.
But we're getting off topic.
Yeah, no, 100%.
While Laleh is on the truck, being transported with hundreds of other Jews, crammed in like livestock, he sees snippets of the fields that are filled with flowers. He says to himself, I've learnt from a young age that women like flowers. I wonder if I'll ever get to give another woman flowers. My question is, do women actually like flowers, or are they told to like flowers? So they do. If they have been indoctrinated to like flowers, is that a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, it brings them joy.
Yeah.
You know, if I was going to indoctrinate somebody, I would indoctrinate them to like something that's very easily available. Grass, here you are. Flowers, here you are. You like it? Yeah. It's easy.
Well, to be fair, I feel like the point is it's more about the thought. But everybody knows it's all about the thought. But that's
but we say that. We explain that.
That's true.
We kind of explain that.
But that's true. But that's an interesting point because do men really like cars?
What do you mean, do we like cars?
Do men really like cars?
Yeah.
But was he told to like cars?
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Do you see what I'm saying? Do you really like watches, for example?
Yeah, no. Yes. That is. I thought about that as well. We guys are told to like cars.
Legit.
It's what's pushed in front of us.
Literally, like your nursery, give you a truck straight away. If your boy,
play
with this truck.
Oh yeah.
If your girl, play with this doll straight away. But when your brain is soft, when it's not even developed.
But it's actually, right, there is some science behind it, and they do say, even though we indoctrinate children, right, they say a man's brain is more predicated to like things, and a woman's brain is more predicated to like people, right? And the reason why they know this is because they've given the toys to chimps.
Okay.
And other apes that share 99.9% of the DNA that we do. So their brains are near enough exactly the same. And they put the toys out. The same thing happens with the lights. Every time.
Every time.
So what happens, they put the toys out and almost certainly the female baby chimps will go for the dolls and the male baby chimps will go for things. So there is some science behind it.
Definitely some science to it.
But we keep getting off topic.
Yeah.
Let me read this. The prisoners get transported off the cattle trucks and they get tattooed. They get a tattooed prison number. Some are killed where they stand for their defiance. They are told to all strip and go into a communal cold water shower. It's grimy, dirty, and water comes out the taps. But the Jews drink it because they haven't had any food or water in days.
Literally. Lale was like, it's the sweetest thing he's ever tasted because they literally.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. We don't know. You don't know what thirst is. You don't know what hunger is.
Legit.
We just think we know what it is.
I was literally saying this the other day, like first world problems. And the thing is, you remember that joke that was going around? This must be years ago. First world problems, yada yada. Could throw away water or whatever, or basically what happened, Chloe and I was on an escalator and it stopped working. It was literally just like, we have to walk all the way up the stairs. And it just occurred to me, I was literally like, there's some people would like fighting for that, like do walk hours to find water, like in their life, and we would move in stairs. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
Travelators in the airport,
it's ridiculous how
we want the floor to move for us because we can't be bothered. We can't be bothered to walk.
My biggest problem is like bad Wi-Fi signal, like in my life.
It's raining. It's a bit cold.
100%. It's ridiculous how privileged we are. But
let me go.
Go for it.
I'm a bit confused with the motive of the Germans. or the Nazis, should I say. And maybe that's the point of the author, to show that they are crazy. Not that I believe they're crazy, but do they want the Jews as workers for the war effort, or do they just want to exterminate them all? Because this Laleh kneels, keeps his head down and does his work, and he is fine. But then you got truckloads of Jews coming in, and the Germans are throwing grenades at them. So what is their motivation?
Well, that's a good question, to be fair. I chalked it down to the fact that Laleh had, like, he spoke so many languages, and it was like, he's going to be useful in this way or that way, or like, there's a Jew that's like big and strong, but like, he's going to be useful in this way or that way. But it was super weird, because some of them were literally just getting killed.
Yeah,
for no reason.
well, that's what I said.
Whatsoever.
One of these lot, a truckload of Jews came in, and they opened the doors, they threw a grenade in, and they closed the doors.
Literally.
Killed all of them. Maybe someone could have been useful in there. So that's what I'm saying now, that I was confused about.
Or like, even them two guys that were literally just shitting, and the guys just shot
Yeah,
them. Shot
yeah,
them. Just saw them, shot them.
Sprayed
That's
them
it.
up for no reason.
Saw them, shot them. Just trigger happy guys, just for no reason. And literally, funny, literally.
So that's what I said,
So
I
there
was
seem to be no motivation. There seem to be no consequences for the trigger happy officers either. They just went about their business, did it again the next day.
Yeah.
I put, it has to be said, this narrator is very versatile with his accents. He can do a convincing German with the SSRs, just good French with Pepin, who was the tattooist before Laleh, and he does good Russian with Andor, Boris, Yuri. He just got like good 3 or 4. Obviously, American came later, and then who else came later?
Do you know what? Surprisingly, I didn't really take note of it. It must have just been that good.
It must have.
You know, when some things are just that good, it just seems real.
Sounds like you listen to a movie, innit?
Yeah,
When you watch a movie, you don't really question anything. You're just immersed in that.
Well, I was immersed.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be questioning anything anyway.
So Laleh falls ill. He falls very ill, and he drops into a coma. His Jewish brothers, and they're not really his brothers, they're just people, other Jews. They care for him in secret. They hide pieces of bread from their own meal and physically force it down his throat, Laleh's throat. And I put, does that count as sexual assault? Technically.
Of course not.
They also change his soiled clothes every day with the clothing of people who have been murdered. Also, one of his bunk mates ends up losing his own life because one of the Germans found out he'd been lying about Laleh's whereabouts, as he didn't want Laleh to be put on the death pile. So they paid Laleh a debt that he could never repay, and that fact reduced him to tears once he'd woken up, which is, it's touching for them to do something like that. I mean, hundreds of people being killed every day or whatnot, and
they decide to risk their
own necks for one person they didn't even know. Which is crazy.
That is super crazy. I put, what happened to Pepin? Literally, what happened to him?
Who's that?
The tattooist before Laleh, the guy that had the Frenchman.
Took him away.
Bruv, we literally did not hear from this guy for the rest of the book. We didn't even see them take him.
Yeah.
We did not hear from this guy for the rest of the book. From the
up.
perspective of the reader, he simply upped and disappeared. It would have made much more of an impact on us if we could have perhaps seen him, like, subjected to the cruel injustice, like in front of us, maybe gunned down in an altercation.
But this is a true story, so
it's a true story. But some of the details were tweaked for like dramatic license.
Apparently, a lot of the deals.
Apparently, a lot of them. What you just said about the whole thing with the grenades in the bus. Apparently, there was no like record of that happening at Auschwitz. For like people like putting them in the bus and then throwing the grenades in, and like apparently there was no record of that happening.
But they wouldn't. The Nazis wouldn't record that. They wouldn't record that, especially because they're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, I swear there was like the Red Cross came into the thing and they had to like feed the prisoners or be like give them more food or whatever. And I was thinking, who's checking up on Auschwitz?
Well, obviously, before the war broke out, there's humanitarians all over the world, and if they hear about this stuff, they're gonna come and see. And Germany's got to let you in, otherwise the war's gonna start. So I think Germany were trying to keep everything on a down low so they can continue exterminating Jews without starting a war. So Laleh ends up getting a promotion from the building work, and he becomes the tattooist, which means he's the one that tattoos the identification numbers on the Jews. He doesn't like the idea of doing it, but he's convinced once somebody says to him, it's better you doing it as somebody who doesn't want to than a heartless beast who takes pleasure in doing it.
Literally. Yeah, nah, way better, because at the end of the day, like, I've never got a tattoo, but I can imagine like doing it in like the 40s in
they didn't look like they looked like he was just like legit. I don't know what he was doing. It seemed like it was a stamp or something like that.
Stabbing them up.
It's interesting that Laleh has dreams of his old life. Because he'd go to sleep and he'd dream of his old life, working whatever job he had, some fashion thing. I don't know. What it was.
I'm not sure what it was.
But he doesn't dream about his family or hobbies. He dreams about women, essentially, touching and sniffing perfumes off their necks, which is quite funny. Our lives are very, very pointless. We have freedom to do whatever we want, and we could be whatever we wish. And what have you done with it, Joseph?
How did you say that?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say that. That's a bit,
nah.
That's a bit.
What? Yeah, you was on the source. You was on the source. When you said that, innit?
But yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say something.
But yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. The character building of him on of itself, he was very 2D. He was just some man. 2D. He was just some man.
There was pre the book. There wasn't much like substance to his character whatsoever. Like
throughout the whole book,
because he was even. I'm saying pre the book for like all of his life. Pre the book.
Oh
no substance to him whatsoever. Yeah. There was he knows women like flowers since he was young, but then he was like, I've never ever given a single woman a single flower. So I was like, don't really understand that at all. To be fair.
No, his character wasn't. But maybe I mean, we're making excuses for the author, but maybe they wanted to concentrate on the story. But Lale himself, he was very 2D playing. But I guess, you know what? When it's a true story, you don't really need to develop a character, do you?
You don't really,
he's real.
Look at the SS officer Beretsky. He was a way better character. Way more interesting character to me, anyways.
Yeah, he was. I kind of liked him.
I liked him. But then when Lale at the end, he was like, oh yeah, I would not shed a single tear. And I'd love to kill him, whatever. I was like, I thought you guys was boys.
I don't even remember that. And he never did anything bad as well.
He literally helped him. He was literally
I mean to any Jew as well. I never saw him do any bad.
Yeah, he said a couple of questionable things, but other than that, so I put chapter 5. This is going to be a love story. Admittedly, I'm gonna hold my hands up here. I didn't actually read the blurb. Didn't read the blurb before I started this book.
No, I don't think I did either, actually.
So I was unsure of where it was going to go, but it seems that the stage is set for the star-crossed love story where Lale and Gita's the name of the woman that he tattooed and just randomly fell in love with her. It wasn't really explained why he randomly fell. Because I was thinking she is the luckiest woman alive. Because he could have fell in love with any one of the women that came in there and just full in love with her, and she benefited greatly from it.
Well, I've said that as well.
I said Lale and Gita's love prevails against all odds in the foulest, most inhumane conditions possible. It's going to be tough for them because these SS brothers, they are not playing. They literally just shoot for fun.
Yeah.
Like, Gita literally got hit in the face with a rifle for smiling. She smiled, and the guy literally said, "Why are you smiling?" He said, "Remember where you are." But as well remembered by history, this is not a place for happy beginnings or indeed happy endings.
Is that a joke?
No, it's literally not.
No.
Genuinely.
Happy endings.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how is there love? Is there love?
No,
it's against
happy endings. You know what happy ending is?
Oh, you're an idiot. It's a stretch.
What do you mean?
It's a stretch. Come on, it's a stretch.
You said it.
No, it's a stretch.
I said, wow, it's quite rare for me to notice indoctrinations for males. And I say notice because I actually wanted to say this doesn't happen as often as it does for women. But that's probably not true. But Lale's boss started talking about how much of a player he was. What's his name?
Ooh, the SS officer, Beretsky.
Beretsky. So Beretsky, who is Lale's boss, basically.
Yeah, it's like a supervisor.
It's like a supervisor.
Follow him around.
But they work together a lot. They're always together.
Yeah. Bro,
because after Lale does his tattooing for the day, because the Jews arrive, he tattoos them all, and then I think he's got free time after, because he's the tattooist. After they've tattooed the numbers on the Jews, he hasn't got anything to do. So Beretsky kind of makes him go to different camps and do other stuff. But anyway, so they were talking, and Beretsky started talking about how much of a player he was before he was in the army. And he basically said something along the lines of, I don't give a fuck about what women think because I only want one thing. I want them for one thing. And he simultaneously grabbed his crotch. And Lale bravely said, do you have sisters? And is this how you'd like for them to be treated? And that obviously enraged Beretsky. And he shouted, I'd kill anybody who did that to my kin.
Yeah, nah.
Not only is this not only is this nonsensical, but this is the narrative that men are expected to follow. 1, be a player and get rewarded for it by other guys and girls. 2, hate other players who run the same games on your family and protect your sisters. Like, why we all know being a player is like up here. Like, you know, guys, you are players, get the girls, all guys want to be like that, right? And then we hate other people and we want to protect our family and sisters. Like, do we learn this from TV?
What?
Is it indoctrination for us to be like that or want to be like that?
I mean, I suppose so, but it
doesn't make any sense.
Psychological, like, obviously, humans want to procreate, innit? So there's some psychology there, but the concept of like wanting to be a player.
Yeah, but I'm talking about both simultaneously, because obviously we want to be a player, we want to have loads of women, right? But if a man's doing that to our sister, we're like, no, that's wrong.
Well, look, life is very much player versus player. It's very competitive. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily I should want for every man what I want for myself. Like, do you want every man to be rich? No, you don't, because you wouldn't be rich. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
I guess so.
It's not necessarily you want every man to make as much money as you. It's player versus player. You're competing against him. So
you're not competing for your sister, though.
But you're not competing for your sister. But it's just like, listen, at the end of the day, whatever. Let's say you're a player. Cool. You have this woman, this woman, this woman. This is not your sisters. Your sisters deserve your protection. These women are not your sisters.
That's the question. Why do your sisters deserve your protection?
Well, they're family, innit? Maybe you want. I assume one would want to protect family.
Okay, so I said, where did this protect your sisters thing come from? TV? Isn't that sexism? Isn't that misogynistic for us to suggest that they're incapable of looking after themselves, that they need a man to help them and protect them?
Of course it is. Of course it is misogynistic, but there's benefit in there for them, so they won't mention it if they need it. They won't mention it if they need it, because look, who would? You're not stupid. You're not gonna like actively self-sabotage yourself for essentially pride, as you said. But like when it comes to something they don't really need, or it's like I said, in the West, in the first world, we have all these privileges. We can talk about, you know, equality and misogyny and things like that. In the West, in the East, in the Middle East and stuff like that, women can't drive. It's a totally different story.
Yeah.
I personally think a lot of people in the West have run out of things to complain about, so we just find the stupidest, most pointless thing.
I did say to you, people, there's always something to complain about, and as soon as you fix a problem, that's no longer problem A. That's now, so problem B becomes problem A.
100%. But that kind of thinking is the only reason we have all the things we have. To be fair, because we would have just got what we needed, and it stopped.
Because if we're like fighting for food or whatever, we ain't complaining about.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Other things, like silly little things. Oh, you know, sexism and
literally.
Wokeness. We don't care about that. You know what I mean?
Literally, we have solved so many problems. We now are fighting over what's a man and what's a woman. That's how many problems we've genuinely solved for us. We've made life so easy.
That is so true.
Got life onto such a level that we just find something to complain about. I saw this post on Facebook, right? Imagine that, Facebook. But I saw this post, right? And literally said, to prove that people will argue about anything, here is a picture of a stick. Argue about this in the comments. That's literally what it said. And loads of people were like, well, actually, this is a twig. Actually, it's a branch. And it was literally just like, humans have the capacity to literally divide over anything and just see problems in anything.
Well, it's genuinely a useful skill, and it's what's brought us to where we are now. It's the reason why we have everything, because we can identify the issues. You know, elephants and animals, they don't identify the issue. They see grass, food, go. That's it.
Once my belly's full,
yeah, that's it. Well, they're not thinking about, they don't say, I wish I could store some of this for later, so I don't have to go hunting. Maybe I'll invent a fridge.
Squirrels do, but that's for like hibernation reasons.
Exactly.
They have to sleep for how many months or whatever.
So it is a skill, but it's a skill that we can't turn off.
I want more wealth
it's
than I can spend
it's probably what we were burdened with once we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, literally.
That's probably.
You mean once women got us kicked out? Let's get that in there. Once Eve got us kicked out.
Yeah, I bet it was Adam's fault though. Legit. Why did you let me do that? But yeah, Lale decided that it's a good idea to try and find love in a concentration camp, which is quite poetic.
Depending on how you want.
There could be an apocalypse. You know, there could be an apocalypse. Can you stop reading my notes?
No, because you said apocalypse.
No, stop reading my notes. There could be an apocalypse. The world could be coming down. They are literally being enslaved and beaten, and they are starving, but you can always count on a man to think with his dick.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking.
So anyway, Beretsky, who's Lale's boss, notices the lust in Lale's eyes, and he offers to provide Lale Lele with a paper and pen and deliver the finished note to the girl to spark up some romance. Because Lord knows this book needs something to cheer us up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. That is genuinely crazy. You're gonna trust this SS officer. I mean, if you like someone or you love somebody that you don't know, that you've never met, that you don't know anything about, you're not gonna tell anyone. Not an SS officer.
Come on,
for him to he now controls you. I mean, he always did already, but now
fraternizing, that's illegal. This could be punishable by all
they
manner of
get
things.
shot for anything.
They get shot for breathing.
So-
they get shot for smiling. All kinds of things. I also thought that when he was like having a pen and paper, it's like if you get caught on a pen and paper, it's punishable by death. I literally said, well, what if he just randomly says search his bunk after he just gave you the pen and paper? Like, these guys could set you up for anything. You don't know.
That
literally don't know.
no sense.
And like, what's in it for Beretsky? This is why I was literally like, this is just so strange that he just decided I'm gonna hand deliver it. But it's interesting that you say he starts thinking with his William, and then we was also talking about once you solve problems, you get down to like you just start looking for other problems to solve. He solved the problem of like getting the best possible job in a camp, in a concentration camp. So he's got food, he's got protection, he's got water, he's got his own bunk. What next? Woman.
Yeah.
Woman. What else is there? You can't get a car or anything like that. What next? Woman.
Yeah.
That's the next thing down the priority.
That is funny. That's how
he's
men
got
think.
all the resources, and what
He might as well.
you get with
his
resources.
life
Woman.
shit. He might as well, make the most of it.
Make the best of a bad situation, 100%. I can't work out whether Lale is a hopeless romantic idiot or a genius. In short order, he has had himself established at Auschwitz in a position of power, making the absolute best of the worst possible situation he could be in. On top of this, he's arranging for the acquisition and the profiteering.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well.
The profiteering of luxury valuables, jewels, money, food, chocolate, everything. Literally anything that apparently he could get from these Russians. Yeah, I don't know where they was getting it from.
Yeah, so
I was confused about where they was getting it
so
from.
just to explain what happened, so Lale started smuggling in goods. There were these builders, Polish builders, Russian builders.
It was Russian builders.
Russian builders, and they would come in and they would patch up the prison, Auschwitz. They'd be building crematoriums or whatever. And these Russians would come in every day, and they'd go home and they'd come with their lunch, and they'd basically Lale realised they've got food. And one of these guys just decided to help Lale. Here you are, you need the sandwich. He didn't really like what was going on. He felt bad about it. So Lale started giving him jewels because obviously as the Jews come in, they're wearing jewellery and that gets confiscated by the girls. That's what the girls were doing.
And
they were sorting through the dead bodies, taking the rings off, and they would smuggle that to Lale. And so Lale would smuggle that to the Russians, and the Russians would bring in anything Lale requested.
So he had a good little network going on.
He had a pipeline going on.
He literally had a good little network going on. He had employees. He literally had employees. He had everything.
Yeah, he had his
That's
own.
why I said, is he a genius?
Yeah.
Because he's literally cutting the whole thing off rip, essentially.
Yeah.
Which I thought it's the best thing he could possibly be doing. Even his block, or his old block, Block 7, he was smuggling them food as well.
He was helping. He was helping everyone.
But you know what it was? Like he said, they paid the guy. Was it Aaron? Aaron, the guy that died for him. Basically, he literally said, "I could never repay this debt."
Yeah.
So literally, he was doing bits for everybody.
Well, I said it's funny that Lale is a big boss now. Big boss,
Big boss.
Good, as we just said, good job. Smuggle. He's a smuggler, right? And not once has he made the effort to repay the debt paid to him by his brothers, apart from bringing them stale bread. He didn't break off. He did not. They were not eating good.
They weren't eating
Instead, he's trying to impress this woman by giving him her extra. Sorry, by him giving her his extra. No, sorry. He's trying to impress this woman by giving her his extra rations.
And even
men. He smuggled in chocolate for her.
Bro, he smuggled in diamond rings. Said, "Yeah, which one you want?" He said, "Which one you want?"
Yeah, exactly.
I said, "Nah, you're taking the piss. You're taking the piss." But
he was smuggling. He was giving the SS soldier chocolate so that he could go in to his girl's barracks so that he could. You know what I mean? So
like I said, when you got a good job, you got the money, and you got the room, you got everything. What's next?
Let me go again.
You're gone.
So what is it exactly about Gita, which is his girlfriend's name, does he like then? Because obviously he doesn't know even the first thing about her. It was only after 2 weeks. It was only 2 weeks after his infatuation did he learn her name. She's bald-headed, not by her own choice, filthy and anorexic. I mean, what is there to like? Honestly, her eyes, apparently. I mean, if this wasn't a true story, I'd call bullshit. Also, that does make me think, was Gita a fictitious adding to a true story to carry the narrative along? That's what I was thinking at that point.
That's interesting. I thought it was as well, because I was thinking it would have made much more sense from a story perspective to have like them have already a pre-existing relationship and just both happen to be at the camp at the same time, and him like try and find her again or whatever. Because the fact that, like I said, she's the luckiest woman alive. Because he could have.
Right, so you have to go back from what you said before.
I think it would have made much more sense if they had like a pre-existing relationship, were already like in love.
Yeah, but this
or
is the
whatever.
thing. You keep saying, if this, if that. It's supposed to be a true story.
It's supposed to be a true story, but like you can tweak the details of a true story. But having said that, I know, cool, it's a true story.
Okay, and
but I'm also saying, like, she was the luckiest woman alive, because he could have fallen in love with anybody, literally any one of those women that came in. Remember our friend, was it Dana?
Yeah, but it's not about him falling in love. There seemed to be some reciprocation. So she decided...
There better be reciprocation. After all the things that this guy was doing.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm just saying it's convenient for her to reciprocate, because it makes her position better. I mean, he even got her a good job.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, he patterned it. She didn't know which way.
So I don't know what was the reasons why he decided that he loved this girl. It made no sense.
But it was very, very fortunate for her.
And he made it quite clear that it was love. Not, I like this girl, start dating or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I put, when I saw Lale tell Gita to close your eyes and open your mouth, I said to myself, I did not think this was going to be one of those stories, man.
So yeah, just
got to the creepiest way. He basically gifted her chocolate.
Yeah, so he smuggled chocolate in, and he went to impress her, and I think they went to a little hiding spot right behind the block or whatever, and he said, close your eyes and open your mouth. And he put the chocolate in her mouth and surprised her, because obviously she's been in there for how many years?
Yeah,
and it's the simple. They say it's the simple things,
Yeah, well, listen, chocolate was a luxury for loads and loads of people. But,
yeah, that's actually quite interesting. I said I wish I could rip into this Lele character, only I can't, because he isn't a character and he's a real person. But what kind of man gets intel from the builders that the Nazis are building a crematory? He then proceeds to ask the guy if he can smuggle in some chocolate for that bald-headed woman. He didn't ask for a knife. Maybe he could kill a German and get his gun and mount a takeover after finding out that the Germans are going to start killing them because they're building a crematory. And there's going to be a crematory 2.
Yeah, he said crematorium number 1.
He said crematory number 1, as in there's going to be a crematory number 2 and 3. And he asked for chocolate. He asked for chocolate.
He said,
kind of a man, are you?
Yeah,
chocolate.
Ridiculous. Chocolate of all things, so he can impress his woman. But yeah, that was his motivations for the entire thing. I put... Wait, where's it gone? I said, fair play to Lale. I thought he was a bit of a joke man when it came to women, but he definitely has some sort of game. Somehow, in the worst place in the world, he's managed to spoil his woman with chocolate, diamond rings, medicine when she's sick, got a comfy, easy job. If he, a Jew, could do all of this in the middle of Auschwitz, what excuse do any of us have? I said, my message to our community, if we have one, is do not let your woman read this book. She will start looking at you differently. Because the way this guy was patterning everything, when he had no right to be patterning anything. Literally, there was no right to be alive. He had no right to be alive. He was just patterning everything. And I just thought it was funny. But yeah, I definitely agree with your point. The chocolate, like, just look, and then he was like, he wants to get the tights for... Well, to be fair, that was for Beretsky anyways, but like, just getting the stupidest things.
Yeah, this book needed a takeover. It needed something, even if they died in the end,
Yeah, which they would.
That would have, which they probably would have. But then the story wouldn't have come out though.
Because even there was like the people that was running to kill themselves on the electric fences were getting shot before they reached the fences. That's the level of unlock that they had this place on.
I said, so he does finally get a sausage from a builder that he divides up and gives to his old bunkmates and everybody that he can, which I think is nice. But being nice is dangerous. Should somebody be caught with that contraband like that, I promise you the Germans will have no problem torturing them. And when they extract the information that is in fact Lele providing them, not only will they torture him so that Lele will then snitch on the builders. It's a shit show. So the moral of the story is help nobody, because you can't. There's no way I'd be smuggling stuff in like that. There's no way. I've got a good job, and if I'm gonna smuggle stuff in, I'm gonna have to leave it places for people. I can't have people knowing. Oh yeah, he's the stuff.
Yeah, he's the one that gave it to me. Literally,
Because bro,
zero chance.
them Russians are gone. Them Russians are gone. If they catch Lele, he's gonna sing like a canary.
Literally.
100%. And them Russians are dead too. Probably. I don't know.
100%. So he should have set up some people to be like his full.
They probably called the Russians a traitor and sentenced him to death or something like that.
Sentences everybody to death, bruv.
No, but I'm saying the Russians are not prisoners, man. They're workers. They're civilians.
Yeah.
So, you know. So, Gita gets very ill and she's on death's door. She falls into a lethargic, tired-like state and she can't even walk on her own. Her friends say that she needs some medicine as she's caught some disease. What was it called?
Typhoid. Well, it was typhus. They said typhus, but I believe that's the same thing as typhoid.
What's it? Is it Lale? Or Lale? What did you say?
I said Lale.
Lale.
But look how it's actually spelled.
I know how it's spelled, but I've spelled it like this so that I can remember, because that looks like Lale.
Yeah, it does.
So that's why I've said it. But Lale tells them that they've got to hide her for a couple of days while he tries to sort some medicine out. So Lale runs to his smugglers and asks them, "Can you get me some penicillin?" So day by day, as they wait for the medicine, Gita gets weaker and weaker until she can no longer even raise her head. Her friends have no choice but to carry her and hide her in the laundry room. If the Germans see her, they will for sure throw her on the death pile. I said it's interesting that Lele will risk everything for a chance to save this girl. Is the box that good? He's risking multiple lives to have Gita hidden, smuggling in the drugs and the penicillin that might not even work. We haven't seen him go through similar lengths for anybody else at all.
Yeah, no, we definitely haven't. But again, the whole book hinged on like him just being infatuated, basically at first sight. So like, again, I'd be criticizing if it weren't a true story. Like I said,
yeah,
it wasn't actual historical fact.
But I mean, look, as I said, the book's worth reading. It's a story, but
yeah,
I was kind of disappointed because I wanted the brutality. I was expecting the brutality of Auschwitz, and we got a love story, which was very, very.
We got a lot of the brutality. Let's be fair, we got a lot.
We did not get a fair bit. We got a fair bit of it. But, huh? Did you cringe?
No.
This is no. This is hello.
But this is what I said.
The video. Listen, I'm finished. Go ahead. You trying to cut me off?
Yeah.
No. In Alice on the Network, I cringed when they were doing the abortion scene.
Oh yeah.
And this is Auschwitz.
Yeah.
So we yeah.
To be fair, it was a love story. Neither of us read the blurb, so we can't even complain. Neither one of us read the blurb. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's a fair point. Yeah, go on then.
I put, why did they cut the rape scene short? So this is my next point. So basically what happened is Gita's friend, was it Silka? Gita's friend Silka, who works in the administrative office, which is where Lale got her moved to, the administrative office, because it's warm and she could recover from her sickness. One day, the SS just come in, beat up her friend, just drag her off. That's it. And literally, she doesn't see her for a while. So they take her to, what's his name, Schwarzhuber? That's what I've been calling him anyway. Schwarzhuber's the guy that basically runs Auschwitz 2, because there was Auschwitz 1, Auschwitz 2, and Auschwitz 3, all in the same complex, and there was different like work camps. And he runs Auschwitz 2, basically. And took her to his office, and he was literally just like, undress me, basically. He didn't say it, but like...
He went like this?
Yeah, he went like this. He literally went like this. And he started undressing him.
And he's like, faster, hurry up.
Yeah, faster, hurry up. He started hitting her with his stick. What is a swagger stick, by the way? I don't even know what that is. Something that the German officers carry, I guess. But, yeah, and then he has his way with her. And right at the bit, they cut it short. And then there was like, what did it say? It's like Silka gives it to the inevitable. And then they had a scene cut. Well, and I literally said, why did they cut that scene short? This is a Holocaust book. We should be spared nothing.
Yeah.
It would have deepened our limited understanding of the Nazi brutality and the inhumanity of what the sufferers of the concentration camps were put through. And it would have made us feel so much more for our characters, in particular, obviously, the woman that was getting raped.
Well, I've got a lot to say about this.
How was it?
Rape scene. But to start off, I said, I'm very disappointed with the rape scene. It left me unfulfilled. Is that the wrong word? But let me just say, I've got some points here before We'll get to that. I'll say what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
But I said, by some miracle, Lele manages to get the life-saving drugs in time. Not only that, he begs his boss a favor to have Gita moved into the administration just for pure comfort. So I put, how nice is it to just be a girl? You smile at a guy, and the world gets given to you.
Legit.
Quite interestingly, she feels like she's no longer one of the girls from her block apartment because she has a luxury job. Lale gets called words like collaborator, which is funny because humans are so jealous. Well, not jealous, envious. Everybody would choose to have the nice job if that meant they got out of working in the mud with everybody else. So why do we slate the collaborators?
Because, like I said, life is player versus player. It's competition.
Yeah, but we saying to you, collaborator.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything. Like, it obviously makes them feel rubbish.
It does, but it's
we would all do the same thing.
It's an outward manifestation of the envy that you feel. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's a verbal manifestation of the envy that you feel.
But do you recognise that in the moment? Do you recognise that in the moment? Do we actually feel that they're in the wrong?
We feel that we're in the wrong because we feel like what is right for me.
Do we feel like they're in the wrong?
Yeah.
So we feel like
you're in the wrong because I've been hard done by because you left us.
But if you turn around and said, "Would you take that job?" they'd say, "Probably."
But that's the thing. Emotion doesn't care about the facts. It literally doesn't care about the
Why
facts.
are you arguing with logic when I'm talking with emotion?
Why are you bringing logic into the emotional argument? It's the worst you've ever seen. But genuinely, emotions do not care about the facts, which is why emotion is so dangerous. It genuinely does not care what's true or what makes any sense.
Let me say to you more points, just so that I can catch up to you. So Gita makes a new friend, or should I say she meets a new colleague called Silka. This is when she gets moved to her new job. So she introduces the colleague to her friends from the block. After the introduction, the friends say, "Whoa, that girl was really beautiful." And Gita says, "Yes, and she's been throwing me little smiles all throughout the day, just enough to reassure me through my first day. So she's beautiful on the inside too." So obviously, because you smile at somebody, it doesn't mean you're beautiful or a nice person. That leads me to ask the question, in your opinion, can you pretend to love somebody?
Yeah, me, I personally definitely believe
We said me, I do all the time. That's what we're going to say. All right, no, but here are the question. If we say, this is our little saying, love isn't what you feel, it's what you do. And if you pretend to do the actions, as in put somebody first, do everything in your power to improve their quality of life, if you pretend to do it, you're still doing it, right?
I mean, what do you mean by pretend?
Well, that's the question. That's the question.
No, but what do you actually mean? But what do you mean? That's the question. I'm asking
well, that's the question.
What do you mean
can you pretend to love somebody?
What do you mean by pretend to do it?
I'm not saying pretend to do it. I'm saying, let me just say, I don't know if you can pretend to love somebody, because if loving somebody is what you do for them, not how you feel, then you can't really pretend to love anyone.
See, so when you say can you pretend to do it, only way you could
that didn't make sense.
Only way you could pretend is if it was a feeling, basically.
Yeah. So can you pretend to love somebody?
Well, I think the actions come with the feelings. To be fair, you do because of the feelings, or you do because you do for a reason. You don't just do because you're bored, or because you ain't got nothing to do, or because you're lonely. You pick somebody for a reason, and that reason is almost usually attached to a feeling of some sort. Somewhere along the line.
Yeah, but that's attached to infatuation and lust.
Yes, which are feelings. But that's what I'm saying.
All right, but if love itself is the action bit, it's not the infatuation, it's not the lust.
Well, I think it's attached to those, so they play a part in why you do what you do. Love is the doing.
So what you're saying is you can't have love without infatuation. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Infatuation is a very specific word. Infatuation is a very specific word.
Well, we're trying to be very
obsession. It implies.
Okay, all right, okay. So, what are you saying?
Attachment. I don't know if you can have love without attachment.
Yeah, I can understand that. But what's that? So what are you saying? Can you pretend to love somebody or not?
I think you can. You can pretend to be attached to somebody, which is one part of the equation of loving.
Okay, you can pretend to be attached
to somebody. So you can definitely falsify the equation. You can falsify it in their brain, especially since people disagree on what love actually is.
Yeah.
So you could definitely be deceived.
You're deceiving someone in their brain. Are you actually pretending to love them then?
That's a good question. I think yes, because if you're deceiving somebody to a conclusion that you know is false, or you know is false in their brain based on how they define love, then I would argue that is pretending to love them.
So what you're saying is you don't believe you can love somebody without being attached to them.
I think attachment is necessary.
You think
love.
it's so? If you're not attached to someone, you don't love them, in your opinion.
I think it's necessary for love. Yeah.
So
I think it's necessary.
if you're
I think it's the why we do what we do.
all right, it might be the why. It might be the why, but is it impossible to love somebody that you're not attached to? Then is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Even though love is an action.
Love is an action, but it's why do you...
No, I understand. No, I get you. I get you, but we'll definitely get off topic.
We're definitely getting off topic. Let me ask you a question. Why would you do if you're not attached? Why?
Well, that doesn't matter. You could do
No, it doesn't matter.
Because it's your duty. That's why.
So you're attached to them?
Not necessarily.
Well, you're attached by duty.
Okay,
see what I'm saying?
well, all right.
You're tethered to somebody. Maybe they're your son. Maybe they're your daughter. Maybe they're your baby mother. Cool. You're attached.
But when you said attached, I assume you meant this feeling that attaches you.
Well, it's a feeling that made you get attached to them in the first place. Maybe you had feelings of lust in the first place, which made you sleep with this person. Now you got them pregnant. See what I'm saying? So you're attached to them by hook or by crook.
So what you're saying is you can pretend to be attached to someone, which means you're pretending to be loved them, is what you're saying. Because I don't believe you can pretend to love someone. But we're saying we can pretend to be attached.
Okay, pretend to love someone is a really specific way of putting it. I believe somebody can be deceived into thinking you love them.
Definitely.
Which is not necessarily the same thing.
But that's not the question I was asking.
It's not necessarily the same thing.
I think that's kind of an obvious question. Everyone could... This isn't really...
But that's the thing. It's not really obvious because most times people deceive themselves. But
well, then we're getting.
You started this.
No. We're getting to another level.
100%. Can you pretend to love somebody?
No. Not only was that a good question, but you said you could. Can you? Is it possible to deceive yourself into believing you love somebody?
Yeah,
this is a different question entirely. But what's the difference between that and infatuation? Because infatuation is you basically believe you love them, and then you don't see any flaws, and then after infatuation comes down, wears off, you start to see the flaws.
I think infatuation is you're obsessed with a person because of the way that they make you feel inside your own head.
Well,
which is why you don't
maybe,
see the flaws with them, because they make you feel so good. They must be this perfect person. Do you see what I'm saying?
Maybe.
I think that's what infatuation is, perfectly.
Well, there's an actual definition, dictionary definition of what
infatuation
is. Yeah, and it's basically, I don't know word for word, but infatuation, when you're infatuated with someone, it means that you are obsessed with them and you are incapable of seeing any flaws.
Yeah.
That's literally what it says. So, yeah. But yeah, let's get to the rape scene. Wasted... Oh, bloody hell, has it not been 45 minutes already?
Jesus
we're in the beginning of the book. We ain't got to middle.
Yeah, nah, ridiculous.
This is what did you say about parts?
Well, this is your fault going off on a tangent. It's actually your fault.
We've been on this tangent for like 3 minutes.
It's always your fault. Yeah, 3 minutes too long.
It's like a woman, no accountability, you know.
It's always your fault. Listen, never say sorry, never take responsibility. Double down.
So I always felt like making an excuse for the Germans and for the Holocaust. And whilst I still do think there is a valid excuse, and it's the same excuse that can be afforded to white people who own slaves.
Oh, the white Americans.
The white Americans that own slaves. An excuse being soldiers following orders, or, you know, I mean, with the white people and the slaves, it was just normal. You know, it was a period of 400 years, and if you're born into it, it's normal.
100%.
You get what I'm saying?
With the Nazis,
it's like
7 years.
Well, yeah, no, well, that's it. But that's by soldiers following orders, right? That's my excuse for them. Like, fair enough, right? And it's like with us, we have pets. You know, we're brought up with pets. It's normal. One might say it's cruel. Whatever.
Loads of people do say.
You know, in 100 years of time, we might say, "Oh, look at these horrible humans who used to keep pets locked up in cages," and that's their excuse, right? I thought that the Germans genuinely thought that the Jews were actually disgusting and filthy because obviously Nazis had control of not social media, but the TV, and they had adverts depicting propaganda depicting Jews as rats. So it was definitely purported, right? But now I know this is definitely not the case. The Germans didn't think that the Jews were filth because of the rape scene with Silka. The Germans raped her. And you wouldn't fuck a Jew if you really thought they were filth.
Yeah.
So it was definitely just a lie, and it was an excuse to enslave the Jewish people. I'm very disappointed with the rape scene. It left me unfulfilled. That might be the wrong word, but
I think in the context of this, I mean, again, it's a true story, but in the context of reviewing a book, I understand what you mean by unfulfilled, especially because you're looking for certain feelings.
I expected to feel that. I'm disappointed in the level of realism and brutality. This is the famous Auschwitz death camp. I was expecting brutality after brutality, expecting to be left depressed, not disappointed. The rape scene. All that happened was her clothes being ripped off and she was covering her face crying. We have been robbed of emotion. That was a tap-in for the author.
Yeah,
Not to mention, why did Silka get raped? Why couldn't it have been Gita?
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Do you know what that would have done for the story?
Do you know what I was also thinking? I literally said, like, bruv, this Lale guy, best hope they don't come for his gun.
You know what I mean?
I'm literally saying that's
you
gonna
know
get
what I
techie.
mean?
Bruv, what? You
He
can't,
can't do nothing.
Because all along he's been kingpin, pulling strings, do what he wants. This would be the perfect thing to slap him back down.
Do you know what I mean?
Remind him, like, bruv, you're a little boy in him. But, yeah, I was literally thinking, because still was next to her. I swear she was in the cubicle next to her, something like that. So literally, coin flip. She was a coin flip away from being that person.
I said, do you know what that could have done for the story? What's his name? Lali's boss?
Boretsky.
Boretsky could have been the one to do it.
Yeah, nah.
And he could have jeered at Lali about it. Do you know how much hate we have been robbed of? We could have hated.
It would have made sense for
Boretsky.
Lale to hate Boretsky, because the thing is about Boretsky was the only character we genuinely actually liked in the story.
Which is weird, and it's a weird position. It's a weird position for us to be on the side of in the Holocaust with Lale, and we still like Boretsky.
But that's the
It's
thing.
weird.
I like the moral dilemma that they presented for the readers.
It's very good.
Because
Very good.
Not everything is so black and white. Obviously, in the West, we grew up. You know, Hitler's the worst ever person. It literally goes Hitler, Voldemort, and then whoever it is
can't believe you
after.
just said
That's
that.
literally how it goes. That's literally how it goes in the West.
Yeah.
But that's we grew up in all Nazis are bad, every single Nazi, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's interesting to be put into the moral dilemma when we realise war is not really so black and white. Churchill was racist, for example, things like that. And obviously we see Churchill as this great prime minister who was...
Yeah, and there's a lot of... Apparently, I haven't looked into it, we should maybe read that next, but Churchill have apparently done mad atrocities.
Bruv, remember, this is get off point a little bit, Martin Luther King. Apparently this guy was on like coke and had prostitutes in his
Yeah, I
hotel
heard about that. I was meant to talk to my father about that. I heard about these.
Blown.
I heard about these.
He was the angel, perfect, never done anything wrong in his life. He's coked up.
Yeah,
coked up when he's talking about civil rights.
Yeah, no, I heard
Ridiculous.
that. It's like redacted CIA documents and stuff like that.
Nah, it's ridiculous, man.
But people, a lot of Muslims say, "Oh, it's fake. It was fake."
Well,
but
listen,
I don't know.
I feel like it's put your hands over your ears and go la 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 la. Look, people, not everyone's perfect. Nobody's perfect, in fact.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. Don't you think it's interesting that Boretsky can mow down tens of Jews, because maybe he did kill for a couple of Jews. Did he most
I
of the
think he
Jews?
did, yeah. I think he could have shot up a couple of... Who didn't?
Yeah. You know, I think it's interesting that Boretsky can mow down 10 Jews, and as the readers, we're like, "Meh." But if he was to rape one girl, then he's a monster.
Remember, everybody loses their minds.
Yeah. I think I said the fact that I didn't know Boretsky's name, you seem to have got it down, but
yeah.
I said the fact that I didn't know his name is enough of a reason for Boretsky to rape Gita. And while it's happening, while he's pumping, he could say my name, and it would, like, I bet you everybody in the whole of the UK would know that name.
Yeah.
But the point is, they could have really capitalized on the rape scene like that. We were definitely robbed of emotion.
Definitely, 100%.
I think one of the most sobering things is that Silka is one of the lucky ones. I mean, even getting raped, her fate is much better than many who immediately got put to death.
It even put her in a position of power with the guy, so she actually genuinely directly benefited from it, and it was
Which
ridiculous.
is definitely difficult thing to say. But yeah, she clearly has some use to the Germans, and that is more than many can say. Would you say that she's crying from a position of entitlement compared to somebody who has had their whole family brutally slaughtered?
100%, and
So you could say that she's in a position of entitlement.
I could say that she's in a position
She's
of
crying from a
fortune.
position.
I think she's in a position of relative fortune. When
Relative fortune's a beautiful term.
is because it's relative to the people that pulled up and got thrown to the gas chambers immediately.
Yeah.
Remember, the doctor was literally like rejected,
Yeah.
gas,
gas.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And come on, listen, if we're talking about execution, gas chambers got to be up there with the most brutal ways that you could be executing people. Gas chamber, because come on, it's ridiculous.
It's not
ridiculous,
It's not going to
man.
be painless. It's
No,
not a case
painless.
of falling asleep.
Yeah,
you
come on.
There's a
Mustard
reason.
gas,
There's
like,
a,
Jesus
there's a
Christ.
reason why it's part of the Geneva Conventions to be banned. Gas, flamethrowers, certain stuff like using gas bombs makes more sense than using
Gas
normal
chambers.
bombs. No, normal bombs.
Oh.
Because if you drop a bomb on a city, kills all the people, doesn't damage the infrastructure. You move in and you're there. So it makes much more sense, but it it literally melts your insides out. You're coughing up your own lungs. You know, you're coughing up your like. It's not pretty at all.
Genuinely grotesque is what I was looking for. But yes, you could say a position of relative fortune, because at the end of the day you have some form of use. Like I was saying, when these cities get taken over and stuff like that, women, you genuinely have. You're at a base level. You're a base level of relative fortune because you have use to the men who are taking over the city. We men, we don't have use. Straight away to the sword. To the sword straight away.
Slaves, maybe they might keep some men.
Maybe,
to clean up the
but it's going to be
and then they're going to slaughter you.
Exactly, it's going to be a fraction of the men that were
just
in
enough
the city.
to feed, really.
Exactly, and at the end of the you're basically target practice. You're genuinely target practice. Like I said, these men were getting shot up just for fun, just because you're bored, coming back from the pub or whatever. Shoot, bored. Genuinely ridiculous. But yeah, place of relative fortune at the end of the day. Laid up with the commander of the whole entire base. And then it proved use. Remember when?
Without spoiling it, yeah, definitely. How much you got now? You got loads?
Nah, I've got like.
All right, well I'm gonna have to go.
Go on.
No. Well, you can go. Say one, then I'll say a couple.
I said the football match between the SS and the prisoners was a unexpected break.
All right, pause it. Let me say this then, because this ties up. This just lets everybody know what happens. So. We're in the middle of the book now. A strange new doctor arrives at Auschwitz, and his name's Joseph. Do you know his second name?
Mengele.
Joseph. And he's a doctor that has no intention of...
Sorry.
He's a... Are you good?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
He's a doctor that has no intention of curing people. He inspects the newly arrived Jews, selecting as many as he wants. Meanwhile, the Nazis decide that they want to play a football match against the Jews, 11 versus 11. So it's up to Laleh to pick the Jewish team. So, would you play?
Of course.
What? You're crazy.
Course.
There's no way. What?
Of course.
God forbid you skill up somebody.
Yeah.
God forbid. I mean, you just do something. Yeah. Even you score a goal too good, bro. Keep your head down.
Literally,
keep your head down and do your work. I don't play no football match. I don't need them to know my name. I don't need to. No. No way. You're crazy.
Chicken.
Right.
But yeah, it's genuinely ridiculous how even Laleh had to walk them through it. Had to explain to them. This guy was literally like, we got the whole 7.
It was like that film. You know that film Mean Machine.
Mean Machine. Yeah,
exactly. The prisoners were playing a football match against prison guards, and even then.
Yeah, then there was like, we're gonna get beat up.
Yeah,
and that was bad enough.
Yeah,
please, man, you can get shot, genuinely shot, if you beat the guard. If you beat the SS. There's no way you could do that. Embarrass them in front of their commanding officers. There's no way you could get away with that.
But it was interesting. I could tell that definitely really happened because, I mean, football. It's funny. Football is as much as I don't watch football at all, but at the end of the day, it is an amazing sport. I mean, it really does bring together the whole world. Wars have been paused for football. And what I mean by that, in World War II, is it World War One? World War One on Christmas Day. Everyone put down their arms, got out of the trenches, they played a football game, and then on Boxing Day, they went back into the trenches, picked up the weapons, and started killing each other. Football did that. It was Christmas and football. But, go on.
Yeah, it was Christmas, but it was football as a medium. They chose to express that through.
Football, you don't need a language to play football. Transcends language.
You literally do not need to speak the same language. You just need to be able to kick. But the football match between the SS and the prisoners was an unexpected break from the constant death and torture. But it makes sense because if nothing else, Germany has always been a footballing nation, to be fair. It does make sense. Like you said, in World War One, they did the exact same thing. Yeah. And the SS, they need entertainment too, which is exactly what Boretsky said. Yeah. But
and you know what, actually, I didn't even finish my point.
Yeah.
You could tell it was real because the way that the prisoners from Auschwitz they lost because they're malnourished. Bodies just couldn't keep up with the tempo.
They actually intended to throw the game, but didn't.
After about 45 minutes. I don't know how long the match was. I don't know if it was a standard, but after about however long, their bodies just started to collapse and they just couldn't because they're underfed and whatnot. So that was quite a real.
That actually would have made it worse if they had won because the SS would have been like, they had eaten in 2 days and they beat you, man.
Yeah, no, so you're definitely stupid to play. You ain't got enough energy to just survive. You're going to spend it, at the expense of them. at the expense of yourself to entertain them.
But I'll win. I'll get the trophy at the end of the day.
You're going down.
You
score in Auschwitz. That's going down in history. I bet we could find the names of the goal scorers.
Yeah, no, legit. You have to.
So Joseph, am I just sadistic?
Yes. Sorry, finish your point.
Am I sadistic? All right. So we find out that Leon was Lele's assistant. So Lele got into a position where he was so much of a bad man, he needed his own assistant. And we find out Leon was taken. Sorry, he was taken and he was delivered to the Dr. Joseph. And he spent weeks there. We don't know what happened. Leon disappeared. He got taken away. So we find out when Leon came back, he said to Lele, "They cut my balls off." And I squirmed upon hearing those words. But again, we were robbed of emotion. Why did we not get to experience that? Why couldn't him and Gita get caught having sex and as punishment, Lele's balls were cut off with no anaesthetic?
Yeah.
You know?
Obviously, we know why, because it's a true story. And
yeah, no, because I thought that Lele, I still thought that Gita wasn't real at this point. I was convinced.
Yeah, fair enough.
We could have really squirmed, you know. I mean, even if it was just Leon, you know, we could have really experienced that. The doctor could have, you know, held him down, clamped both of his testicles, you know, cut down the line, you know, the liquid could have oozed out.
And it's literally the realization in these moments of what is genuinely about to happen. The suspense, it genuinely gets to you. And it genuinely makes you think, Jesus Christ, brutality of what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you remember, just getting on top of it a little bit, do you remember Django Unchained?
Yeah.
Remember when he was like, say goodbye to them nuts, Blackie? And I was literally like, Jesus Christ, he didn't actually do it. But it's literally just makes me cringe.
Just thinking about it, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, these
even
are
when he said it, I literally like this. When he said they cut our balls, I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. The worst fate I can
That's what I'm saying.
imagine.
These are tap-ins. Why did the author not give this to us?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm thoroughly disappointed with this story so far. Because it's a true story and a good one, it's obviously still a good book. But we've skipped over the building of the gas chambers. We've skipped over the first time Lale experiences the gas chambers. The first we hear of it is when Lale meets the guys who remove the bodies from the gas chamber and puts them into the crematorium. That simply isn't good enough. The ovens are mentioned in passing.
Yeah, it's mentioned in past, and it's like it started waning. The brutality and the realism and everything started waning, and it just started becoming there for decoration as opposed to being
the focal point of the love story.
And it just became like Lale waffling about how much he loved Gita, basically.
With tears welling up in his eyes.
Yeah, endless pages.
Sure.
I also put another horrific instance of brutality that we were needlessly spared. Leon's mutilation at the hands of Dr. Mengele, whose name, of course, is Joseph. The first character we get with the same name as me turns out to be a depraved sicko. Makes sense. Still, we've missed out on a blood-chilling scene where slowly and suspensefully revealed just what Dr. Joseph plans to do to Lale's assistant, and even the surgical side of it all, we didn't get anything. We just got the reveal. That's all we got. He just revealed it. How is it possible we have time to see the prisoners and the guards having to kick them out, but we don't have time for the moments that will make all of this real, which is what you want. You read the Holocaust book, you want to get into the Holocaust.
That's a fantastic point. That is a fantastic point. Football's more important than his balls. So, you know, that's terrible.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. It was terrible allocation of resources on the author's part, in my personal opinion.
So, Lale and Gita finally have sex. That was irresponsible. God forbid if she falls pregnant.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They will be screwed. Well, she will.
She would have already been screwed twice.
Yeah. So to bring our listeners up to speed, where we are in the story, Lale has been in the concentration camp for 2 years. He's richer than he's ever been. He's found love for the first time. One might say this is the best time of his life. In the best job he's ever had. It's true.
I don't know what his job was before.
But this is the thing. It's crazy that... You know, it's painted out to be some good time, like he's having a good time.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
genuinely.
It's disrespectful to the 1.1 million people who were executed in that camp. I think the only thing that would do them justice is the constant reminder and the thousands of books of stories of people facing gruesome, brutal things. Not a love story. It's a joke.
Yeah,
What do you think you're doing here?
A love story where he's feeding girl chocolate and everything.
Feeding her chocolate. He's feeding her chocolate.
Literally, it's ridiculous. This what do you think you're coming here for?
It's funny. Love is the only thing powerful enough to delude you to the point of stupidity. It would have been interesting to ask Lale if in some way that he's glad that the Holocaust atrocities happened, otherwise he never would have met the love of his life. And if the answer is rightly, no, I'm not glad, and I'd rather it didn't happen, it would be interesting to ask him the same question a few years later after he'd had children, which at which point I'd be surprised for him to maintain his answer. Love, infatuation are powerful emotions, and humans are selfish. So, you know, it's kind of like that other book we read where Zayden said, I would let everybody on this whole city die just to save you, Viola. You know, and it's just like humans are just untrustworthy.
That's you just can't. Worst thing I've actually heard.
You cannot put your faith in humans.
Well, I heard a great quote one time. It literally says the reason why women love villains is because the hero will sacrifice you to save the world, and the villain will sacrifice the world to save you. So that is a great quote that just perfectly puts into context why women go with the villains, because villains are selfish. They will sacrifice everything. They don't care about anyone else. Yeah. And Zayden is very much that character. Obviously, it's not from this book, but it's ridiculous how much love, or maybe you want to call it infatuation, maybe you want to call it obsession, can blind people and just make them do do all the wrong things and make all the wrong choices just out of selfishness. Yeah, wrapped up in your own feelings. 100%. No, it's ridiculous. I put chapter 90. I think this is. Why did I put chapter? I don't think it's chapter 19. I've got a good
few points if you want me to go.
Go on.
Lele returns to his room to find the SS officers in his room.
Oh, yeah.
They have uncovered his massive stash of diamonds and food, and they march him away for interrogation at gunpoint. So, yeah. You know, shit hit the fan. Shit hit the fan. That's different. And that was after. I think that was just after the first sex scene as well.
We literally just came back. Bo was empty. Yeah. Smile on his face. See the ring like this. No, that's
why would you keep that under your bed though?
That's what I said. Under your mattress is never been a good place to hide anything. He even said when them gypsies moved in, he said, "Do I need to move all my shit?" He wasn't thinking about it. Didn't do it. But it's literally pulled up. He's like,
I said the problem with these stories that aren't point of view and that they don't have other characters, so there's no suspense. There's still an hour left of this book, so I don't think he's gonna die or be put to death.
Yeah, no, I hope not. Anyways,
he is an idiot though, keeping so much goods and storing them in his room under his bed. I mean, come on, not even trying to bury it or something. You could have buried it.
Man said under the bed. Like I said, under the bed is the worst place. It's not a secret. Under the bed is the first
I can't believe it's funny because when anybody searches his room, they look under the mattress, and I always thought, who's stupid enough to put something on there? It's the first place you look. Shoe boxes under the mattress. It's the first place. Literally. They look rolled up in socks.
Cupboard
it's the first,
or
it's the first
cupboard,
place.
man.
Like, come on.
You have to be smart.
So I said, I am now smiling. Well, I would be if this wasn't a true story, I guess. After Lale gets marched away, he's thrown into a cell where he stays by himself for 3 days. And on the third day, his cell opens up and he finds himself looking at a familiar face, Jakob. A man who he risked his neck to feed on the first day he arrived. So on the first day that Jakob arrived, Jakob was begging Lale for food in front of the German officer, like on a sly, basically. And Lale basically fed him, like snuck him a sausage or something like that. And Jakob says, Jakob's the one guarding the door to the cell. So this could go a number of ways. I was thinking which ways it's going to go.
Yeah.
So Jakob says, I've been sent to extract names from you by beating you and torturing you. And Jakob says, you did me a solid, but I'll do what I must to stay alive. Sorry, I ain't got no choice. I shouldn't even laugh. It's a true story.
Yeah, nah.
But, do you think that's fair enough?
I mean, look, water is water. You can't say anything else. You can't say anything.
You wouldn't say, but I gave you a sausage.
No, but you have to pause.
I gave you a sausage though.
Yeah, nah, it's not. Listen, what is that worth at the end of the day?
For Jakob to just be like, sorry, mate, you know,
Bro,
do what I must.
The funniest thing is, well, look, at the end of the day, if he doesn't do it, someone's gonna do it. It's not as if he doesn't do it, Lion's gonna get out of it. Jakob can be like, I didn't make you hide that shit under your mattress.
Yeah, Jakob never told Lani to be doing no espionage.
You see what I'm saying? He
Never told
didn't
him
tell him to do any of that. Selling, what's it called, diamonds for chocolate to give Gal and all these.
He was doing the most. What did you think was going to happen?
He was doing the most. And he was hiding the contraband under his bed.
Under his mattress.
So whose fault is it really that you got caught at the end of the day? Is it my fault or is it your fault?
So, I said, the way I see it, I see the opposite of you. The way I see it, if somebody saves your life, you know, because Jakob said if Lani didn't feed him when he did, he doesn't believe he would have made it to the morning. So as I said, if somebody saves your life, you owe your life to them. You are already on borrowed time.
Yeah.
You're already on borrowed time. So you shouldn't be here anywhere. You should be dead. That's the way I see it. So, you know, Jakob should risk his life, give his life to get Lani out. I mean, get him out the cell. he ain't gonna be able to break him out.
That's what I'm saying. Hide him where? He's not gonna do any good. He probably did more good doing what he did.
No, he did. He actually did do the solid.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm painting it in a way to show.
Yeah, I know.
But
It's an interesting moral question.
Oh, it's very, very
interesting moral question. If somebody saves your life and then later on you're like, well, look, at the end of the day, we're both gonna die if I don't do this. Are you justified in like?
Is there any reason why they sent Jakob to extract the names out of him? Like, they could just get Gita. Everyone knows Gita's
yeah,
his girl.
that's why it's a bad idea to tell the SS about your
so
girl,
you know, get Gita, torture her in front of him, and then you know, it'll be a nice little moral dilemma. Is he going to give up all the Jews, all his friends, all the people to save his girl,
which we must assume he would have done because the amount of things that this guy's already.
Yeah, he's giving them. He's singing.
Literally
if
straight
they
away.
grab Gita, he's singing, and then both of them could be killed. And it still could be improved if it wasn't a true story.
Yeah, it wasn't a true story. So, do you think it hinders the writing or helps the writing?
Of course, it hinders the writing,
but it definitely helps the writing when you see.
As I said, it's cheating. It's pros and cons. That's a good point. It's pros and cons. If it's a true story. Put it this way: the best true stories get made into books, and they're obviously already a good story.
Yeah.
But this wasn't a good story. I mean, it was good enough to be a book, but I mean, if you talk about the best pieces of literature coming out of Auschwitz,
yeah,
it just doesn't. It's just not nowhere near the bar. I've looked at some other books because I've read the reviews, and people are angry at this book. There's a lot of people that love it. People are livid, saying this book is an atrocity. That's what they're saying.
There's people that were expecting, proper historical.
So there's books out there that I would want to read. Maybe we'll come back and read them on our podcast in a few months or whatnot. So we can actually have the contrast.
Yeah,
but yeah, this is it worth reading? Again, yes, but it's if you want. This is like a PG book. Not really, but it's like, it's not...
It's domesticated.
It's domesticated.
It's literally been domesticated. And I think as it goes on, it peters out towards the end where I'm literally just like, well, you had me, and it seemed like it was going towards big things. And then towards the end, which is very difficult to criticise because, as we said, it's a true story. So it's very difficult to criticise. But there's other things that are also true stories that also happened in Holocaust that the author could have focused on. And I think she focused on the wrong things. And...
Yeah, but do you know what? As I said, it's very easy for us to make excuses for the author. Did she do a bad job or was it all for a reason? And one might say, there's hundreds of books on the Holocaust and she wanted to do something different.
Maybe. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it's a valid point, but is it an excuse? Am I just making...
Look, to have a huge problem with the word
we need the author here.
Yeah, literally. Explain yourself, literally, on camera. Go. Yeah. But I have a huge problem with the word excuse because excuse means reason why you didn't do something, but then people have the connotations. Is that the actual
definition? Is that the actual dictionary?
Well, look, there's dictionary definitions and there's accepted definitions in the way people use words, and there's differences.
Well, we use them wrong then if we're not using
But what is wrong? We invented all of the words, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but we invent the words so that we can agree.
Exactly. If we agree and we all use it if the majority of us use it in the wrong way, it becomes the right way.
No, well, it shouldn't.
Why not?
Because now we have Christianity. That doesn't mean anything. That's why.
Listen, that's their problem. But
this is what happens when we do stuff. When we deviate from the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you deviate from the book, it
Deviate
becomes
from God.
it becomes something else.
deviate from God.
I've got
Let me say
three.
one
I've
point.
got about 6, 7 more. So.
Okay, let me say one point.
Go
I'll
on,
let you
go
go
on,
again.
go
I put Lale screwed. This is back when he got caught. Lale screwed.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah,
Screwed.
Like,
Differently screwed.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
Somehow his bounty has been discovered underneath his mattress, as if that's ever a good place to hide anything. I'm more interested in how has he been discovered. Was it a random search, or maybe someone he thought was loyal has ratted him out? I said, imagine if Gita ratted him out. I thought that would have been a super interesting plot line. I thought, and the reason why I thought that is because I was thinking, he saw this girl, took interest in her, decided to give shower of affection, give a comfortable job, yada. I was thinking, what if she doesn't even love him? She's an opportunist.
No, that's what I said. I literally said that. Of course,
yeah, 100%. So
I can't believe there was no infidelity as well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's being loyal, but he doesn't even know if he's living till tomorrow.
Legit.
He's got all these gifts. He's got 10 diamond rings, one for each of them. Like anyway.
Just regular diamond rings, bro. He's literally got in prison. He's got diamond rings.
You know
ridiculous,
what?
different level. But
he couldn't give me that sort of power.
I even thought, what's it called, the doctor? What if he tortured Leon for information? What if he wanted to slay? What's it called, the Tatuera? What's he up to?
Yeah,
I thought, what if Leon ratted him out? That would have been interesting if they'd set that up.
That was never explained.
It was never explained. There were so many plot lines that were just dropped though.
Yeah, it was never explained.
But they couldn't give me that sort of power. Yeah, nice. Literally.
What? Make me the richest man in the whole camp.
Absolute power.
Oh, you want some chocolate, do you, love? Well, yeah, anyway. It's not, I can't
absolute power. Corrupt.
give you some chocolate, all right? Yeah. Mate,
So
listen,
Snickers bar.
I would make the most of that. Yeah, ultimately, I think Lale gets off lightly. He gets punched up a bit, 10 or 20 lashes, but miraculously, they believe him when he says he doesn't know any names of anybody who gave him the jewels. They didn't think to ask him for the names of the people who were smuggling him goods, either. As I said, I would be calling sus if this wasn't a true story. So basically, Jacob says, look, Lale, I got to torture you to the death to give you names. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it look worse than it is. I'm going to punch you up, maybe break your nose a bit of blood, and hopefully they're going to see that you don't know anything. And it basically worked. The SS soldier basically said, as he was getting punched up, the SS soldier was just like, just leave him. He don't know anything. He's weak. He would have told us. He would have told us by now.
Yeah.
So Jacob does do him a solid, and they're even. So I've got a question. Have you finished then?
I've got 2 points left.
Okay, let me go again. So at what point is it no longer rape? Silka said with her own words to the SS soldier, "Isn't it true that I've never told you no?" So, and because one of the girls was talking about Silka, and they said, unfortunately, she's the soldier's plaything. So she's clearly giving consent, right?
I think it's an interesting question.
And the reason why I want to bring this up is because basically, Lale gets a message to Silka, and Silka begs the boss to let Lale out and have his old job back. That's what happens, right? So, she uses the position of power that she's in. Obviously, she's being raped and whatnot. It was a rape scene.
Yeah, but she wasn't there by choice.
Yeah, she definitely got raped. But at what point is she? What is it? Is she getting raped like further on down the line? Because it happens for a period of 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because it's rape up until the point where she uses it to her advantage, and it's like
really. So now she's a collaborator for real.
She's a co-conspirator. She's a co-conspirator because at the end of the day, she used it to advantage, and she did very clearly say that. Look, obviously, wartime is different. If you're in a court and the lawyer says, you said I've never told you no. Release my client, bruv. I've never told you no. She said those words. I've never told you no. Release my client. I don't realistically think you could get convicted of rape if the victim says, I've never told you no. I don't know if you can do that. But
but in real life, we're talking hypothetically though.
Yeah, we're talking hypotheticals.
Which is interesting. Really but, in real life, because she did say that. What point is it no longer rape? Is it rape right all the way through? Are you sticking to once she uses it to her benefit? Because what if she I would imagine, I'd imagine quite quickly after she was getting raped on the regular, she's getting extra rations. Do you know what I mean? So,
look, quid pro quo means something for something. It means consideration. Once you're getting something from that contract, it becomes a contract. Do you see what I'm saying? Once you're getting something, if you're getting extra rations or you're getting
she didn't
more
have a
comfortable
choice.
place
She
to
didn't
stay.
really have a choice. I mean, she could have run and gone and touched the electric fence.
Yeah,
But-
well, yeah, that's under duress. That would be signing a contract under duress, for example. If your life is in danger or if your life's been threatened.
No, but I'm saying she didn't have a choice but to sleep with him.
She didn't have a choice.
Except for touching the electric fence,
Exactly,
right?
and who's going to do that?
Yeah,
But,
so-
so she didn't have a choice. Having said that,
But she
that's why
did
I said it's
choose. She
interested
did
once she chose, but it's like if somebody says, "Yeah, have sex with me, I'll shoot you." Is that rape? Yes, because your
Yeah.
life's being threatened.
Yeah.
You can't consent under duress legally.
So then, right, so what you're saying, 100%.
I think it was
through.
okay. Definitely up until that scene was rape. 100%. Definitely up until that scene was
After?
rape by coercion at least, anyways, which is another thing that you could do.
So after,
But,
is it still rape by coercion?
afterwards, I don't think it is. Afterwards, I don't think it is because like now she's actively She's actively consenting. She has to be. Surely she has to be. Surely she has to be because
It's
now she's
very
getting something out of it.
It's
And
very,
she
very
even
complicated.
she's even said, "Can I ask you for one thing? Because I've
Yeah.
never told you no." Yada
Yeah.
yada. So I
very
think
interesting.
afterwards the lines are blurred a lot. The lines are blurred a lot. One could say she's just making the best of her situation.
Well, no,
And one
she
would be
is,
fair to say
100%,
that.
yeah, she
One
is.
would be very fair to say that. But
So what do you guys think? You guys need to tell us. Was she raped right the way through? Was she taking advantage? Was she pulling at the heartstrings of the man? Because that man, he picked her, and from what we know, it was only her. So he was attached to her in some way, right?
yeah,
guy
it
was
must have
raping
been.
her. He
He
wanted
must have
her.
been. He must have been. In these situations, it is really tough because as traumatic and as horrible as it must be, they really have to look at it as being almost selected for a position, as I said, of relative fortune. Because at the end of the day, you could have been left behind.
Relative
You could have
fortune. There
literally-
is none.
yeah,
When I say that is probably the best term. That is the best term I've heard. Like honestly, relative fortune. But it's kind of weird because everything's relative fortune. Because everything everywhere is relative fortune. I think fortune should now be scrapped and we have relative fortune. Because think about it, right? Someone gives you £1,000. You right now, you're like, woo! Someone gives Elon Musk £1,000. He's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's relative fortune. Everything's relative fortune.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying in principle. Elon Musk probably he counts his pennies probably. To be fair,
No,
billionaires they count their pennies,
but even a millionaire, they're just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know what I
100%.
mean. Whereas you give a £5 to maybe someone who's completely broke, you know, they're happy with it.
Legit, it makes-
So
makes
relative
sense.
fortune. That means there is no such thing as fortune. It's all everything's relative.
everything's relative.
Well, it's interesting. There is a scene where Lele and Geeta are having sex and tears well up in his eyes and he says to himself, "This is the deepest love I've ever felt." What the fuck is that
Jesus
about?
Christ.
Indoctrination. Ladies and gents, this is textbook infatuation. The dictionary definition of infatuation is you are obsessed with someone, you are incapable of seeing their flaws. That's the definition, the dictionary definition, right? We believe that love isn't what you feel and it's what you do for somebody. It's a verb. Putting up with your partner's shit and still doing your duty to them, even when they don't deserve it, even when they piss you off to the point you want to strangle them. You still be the best partner you can, and that's wanting the best for them, that's giving the best, and that's 100% effort. Any feelings you have in your head or heart or chest is lost. So if love is doing...
Or other places.
So if love is doing, name one thing that Geeta has done for Lali. Because to me, Lali seems convenient to Geeta.
Yeah.
Chocolates every day, promotion to a new job, extra food. This seems like a one-way relationship.
Who's gonna say no to that in the situation that these lot are in?
This-
Who is gonna turn any of that down? Got a new comfy job where she doesn't have to work in a muck with dead bodies, things like that.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna say no to that.
This, as I said, this seems like a one-way relationship, and this is what women expect, don't they?
I personally think there's similar comparisons with her behaviour, not situation, but
She doing
behaviour,
damn
and
thing for him, you know.
Silka's behaviour again, not situation, because Geeta's in the same predicament where she said, "I've never said no to you for anything." Do you see what I'm saying? To Lale. So her behaviour and Silka's behaviour are very similar because she's never said no. Like, the situation she's in is the best that she could be doing. Like, Silka, the situation she's in is the best that she could do. Just give him what he wants. Do you see what I'm saying? And get extra rations here and there, yada yada, whatever. Geeta, Give him what he wants, yada yada. If he wants to like lips her up or whatever, if he wants to know her name.
Because if Gita said no to Lally, I don't like you, you think she's getting them gifts?
Bro, she's not getting now. She ain't
getting nothing.
She's not getting now.
So was she coerced then?
I personally think that's what I'm saying. There's similarities in their behaviour and there's similarities in the way that they've responded to the situations of them essentially being picked, because they essentially were both picked at random, basically. And there's definitely similarities in their behaviour there. I personally feel like one could argue she might have been, to be fair, because again, she's not in a position to turn any of that down. Just like Silka's not in a position to turn the SS officer down, because she'll die straight away. Like, if it hadn't been for Lale's medicine, she would have died from that time.
Oh yeah, so she owes him. She owes him. Yeah,
she owes him my life straight away. And then on top of that, he's got all the gifts, all the chocolate, all the affection. Like I said, 10 diamond rings. You know, it's ridiculous how much wealth this guy had.
He had more than that, mate.
Skyrocketed, you know.
Yeah. I've only got a few left, so you say one, then I'll say some more.
Oh, I even missed this one. I said, why won't Gita tell Lale her surname? What was that about?
Character building.
What was that about?
Was the best. That was the best the author had for character building.
It made no sense.
Oh, I'll tell you the name on the day you get out. You was never getting out. You was get out.
You was literally on death's doorstep, mate, like a week ago.
If I was in there, I wouldn't be making plans to get out.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Plans to get out. What, you think the Germans are just going to let you go?
That's what I'm saying. What? In fact, remember what I was talking about? Was watching that Game of Thrones, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna take her to see North when the war is over. I said, you better go nowhere. Why are you making plans in the middle of the war? You're making plans. That's how we know you're the first to die. Grey Worm. Sorry. There's no way you could be talking about, I'll tell you when. What do you mean when?
But in fairness, he didn't need to know her name then. If they weren't never getting out, that's true. But then she didn't need to keep it.
She doesn't need to keep it a secret. I said I can only assume that for dramatic licensing reasons, she has maybe the surname of like a member of the Nazi party or other entity of infamy. I was like, what possible reason?
Do you know what? I assume it was one of them things where, as we just said, the authors getting them to talk about the future. That's what it is, you know.
Maybe.
And it's like what I said to you about your book as well. You got to have your characters talk about the future, so it sets. We hope for them to get out. So it does make that does make sense.
It's a true story though. We knew it was getting out. We knew it was getting out. So I don't know if you
not necessarily. Books have been written of people who have kept diaries, and they've died or whatnot, and we found the diaries, and it's been made into like a story.
Fair enough.
So that I was conscious of that, and I thought that might happen. I didn't think these lot would survive. I don't know. I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. I don't know. One of the most sobering facts to me is the fact that Lale managed to get out of the concentration camp, and upon meeting the American and Russian soldiers, nobody even knew of the camp's existence. 1.1 million people were executed, and nobody in the outside world knew. And the only reason why we know of the numbers to this day is because the Germans just kept such impeccable records of their accurate records of their own crimes. And so basically, I can't remember how they escaped. I think the Americans started coming and did it.
Yeah, the Americans had a scout plane or whatever, and they was like, drop the bombs or whatever, and they didn't actually drop the bombs. I think it was just their scouting, and then the Americans came, but no, it was the Russians that liberated. Yeah, it was the Russians that liberated the.
But they started. You know what happened? They started it. They started evacuating the camps before the Russians came. I don't know why the Russians were coming. Yeah, wouldn't you just save yourself? Like, screw these lot, save yourselves, Germans. Like, but they felt it was important to bring the Jews along with them.
I would have 100% expected the Germans, like, if we're abandoning the camp, the Russians come and shoot all the Jews.
Yeah, I thought that might happen. But why would you do that?
Everybody move. But
why would you? I thought that was going to happen. But
look, they're here about extermination. That's their thing. Yeah. If ever there was a time to fall back on your core principles, it's now. We're moving on. Shoot everybody, gas everybody, move on.
Yeah. So after some dilly-dallying, Lale finally makes it back to his childhood home. I skipped out a bit where he started work. So imagine Lale escaped and then the Russians captured him and they forced him to work for them.
That's peak. And then they were like, if you run, shoot him.
They saved him.
He was thinking,
so basically they forced Lale to go out into the town and find prostitutes, not even prostitutes, just normal women that wanted to go have a fun time with the Russian soldiers, and he'd be walking around with jewels and whatever. And paying the women. He'd do it every single day. They would force him to go out But yeah, so that's why
so many languages, isn't it?
yeah, I guess so. That's
Man said back to his old tricks.
Yeah,
Getting
so
jewels for women.
literally, so he started thieving from them as well, and then he just disappeared. I thought he should stay there. Life was good, but yeah, he works his way back to his childhood home, where he finds out that his sister is his only surviving family member. His brothers are dead, and his parents were taken to a concentration camp days after he was taken.
Yeah,
so the whole point of him going was to spare his family, because the Germans said, "Give us one Jew from every family, and then the rest will be fine." And the Germans took the rest anyway, which is it was just sobering piece of information.
Yeah, it was sobering.
But upon Lale telling his sister about Gita, his sister says, "You have to go and find her." And Lale says, "I don't know where to look. I don't know anything about her. I am now 100% sure Gita isn't real, and that she's an addition to the story. No family member in their right mind sends their last remaining relative back out into the world at a time of war after not seeing them for 3 years to find some girl who might not even be alive."
Literally.
And for that reason, Gita cannot be wrong.
Not even to find, to look for as well.
To look for
Not
her.
even to find. Find it is generous.
So,
To assume he's going to find it is generous.
but yeah, this is stopped again. But yeah, this story is not only is it just too good to be true, but
Yeah, it's
somehow
against
it
the
is.
odds. The odds are astronomical.
And then he finds her.
Yeah, which is again.
He just bumps into her in the whole of Slovakia or something
Literally,
like that.
just sees her on the street or something. Like it was like the POV changed to Gita. She was like, "Oh, there he is."
Yeah,
like, really?
literally,
I was like, really?
literally, there he is. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
It's
It
a
was
joke.
ridiculous.
The ending was, it was a joke.
I only have 1 point left.
Go on,
so,
say your 1 point because I've got 2 points left.
I said this was a very, very, very anticlimactic ending. Anticlimactic? I don't know. I said the American term.
So what's
Anticlimactic ending.
what's the English term?
Anti. I said anticlimactic.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I didn't exactly expect the author to rewrite major history for entertainment purposes. In January 1945, the Auschwitz concentration camp was liberated by the Soviet Red Army. The war itself would officially end 8 months later, following the suicide of Hitler and signing of the peace treaty by its replacement. Wow. Yeah, ended in September.
I didn't know it was. I would have thought the war would finish quite soon after Auschwitz fallen. I know it's got nothing to do with the war.
Oh, no, 8 months.
But that's what
8 months is very soon.
Yeah, I'd expect weeks. I'd expect weeks because I know Auschwitz wasn't that important to the military efforts, but it was on. Oh, was it? It was
in Poland.
Oh, it was in Poland. It wasn't even in Germany.
It's not like it was like next to Berlin. If it was like next to Berlin, they're gonna take the city next, then I'd understand. But yeah, no, 8 months is very, very, very soon. Considering Nazi Germany had Europe in a chokehold at one point, like 42, 43, didn't look like the war was gonna end anytime soon. In fact. But yeah. Lale and Gita were amongst the estimated 7,000 survivors from Auschwitz. So, despite the book lacking a dramatic ending, there is something to be said for it being historically accurate. But again, there was loads of people that disagreed with it being historically accurate. Again, I read some of the reviews, and it was like, this didn't happen. This is wrong. The thing you said about penicillin, etc. Yeah. But the ending where they just find each other and then they just get back together, and then what is it? They had like a rush. I don't know what they was doing in Paris, and then they had to move, and he went to prison, and it was just like events. They just skimmed over a load of events.
Yeah, but that was important. I don't know why they even said it. They probably said
and then
it
was like, and then they moved to Australia, and happy. The end. Yeah, and I was like, it really lacked. The final act of the book, it went downhill and it never really came back up. There was never really any dramatic. We saw the bits with like Dr. Joseph and like mutilated Leon. From then, it just even really from Lale getting caught with his bounty, it never really. We expect the book to go up now.
It was it was kind of a tapping as well. You know, Lale gets caught. You know, they probably should have killed him off and the story ended there.
Yeah, no.
You know, maybe has a little shouts Geronimo or something.
I prefer your idea with like using Gita to get the information out of him, which is and then kill them both. Yeah, which is exactly again, this is the MO of the Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Well, they say if you're a hero, you live long enough.
You literally die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Yeah, because now,
Interestingly, the person who said that died a villain. So take from that what you will.
After the book finished, the narrator talks about the time he spent with Lale learning his history. The narrator starts to talk about his own upbringing as one of the first generations after the Holocaust. He said that he'd asked his parents how they stayed together when so many couples in his parents' circles were getting divorced. We asked his mother, and she said, "Nobody is perfect. Your father has always taken care of me since the first day we met. I know he isn't perfect, but I also know he will always put me first." And that's something you don't hear in this day and age. She didn't mention anything to do with happiness, feelings, laughter, sex, which some might say is sad, but I would also say it's powerful. I've just realised that old people are accountable for the situation that marriage is in now. They have the wisdom and they haven't passed it on. They've let Hollywood educate the next generation, and now we think falling in love is real and it's about happiness. We think love is about how we feel. We think it's about happiness, and we have to remember happiness isn't a permanent state.
Yeah, I really find that to be a useful way of conceptualizing relationships and love and things like that. Happiness is not permanent. Happiness is fleeting. Fleeting is the word I'm looking for. But the reason why we place so much huge of an emphasis on the feelings part of love and the attachment part of love and the happiness part of it and part of it is mainly because it's marketed for women. Love is marketed for women, even in relationships. There's a reason why we say happy wife, happy life, but we don't say happy spouse, happy house. Because it's keep the woman happy, your relationship will prosper. That's it.
Oh,
Man's not happy.
You know what it is? Because when she's unhappy, then all hell breaks loose.
Do you see what I'm saying? Happy wife, happy life. If she's not happy and you are, there's no relationship.
A man can not be happy, but everything's alright.
Everything's alright. That's the default.
God forbid the woman's not happy.
God forbid the woman not be happy. And expecting someone to be happy 100% of the time is very, very, very unrealistic, of course.
All in all, I have mixed feelings about this book. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I'm disappointed. If this is true to life, then I'm underwhelmed by the brutality in the famous Auschwitz. The author really shielded us from the actual horrors. Yes, he depicted mass murders, but he described it in a very impersonal way.
Yeah, it was a woman, right?
Well, because it was a narrator. The narrator was a man.
Fair enough. It was. Fair enough. Yeah.
It was described in a very impersonal way. The SS soldier opened the gas chambers and bodies fell out. It was very matter of fact, no feeling. All that was said was Lally helped. I think Lally was sick and he vomited. I wanted to feel it and experience it, but I didn't get that. So as I said, mixed feelings, but it was definitely worth the read. Lastly, what is a G?
I knew you was going to come with this at some point. I could literally saw it coming, but I feel, to be fair, if I really did see it coming, I should have had an answer prepared. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a subject you kind of have to tiptoe around these days.
This is the funny thing. How can we have a book, about Auschwitz, about Jews, and there's no definition of what a Jew is? And I ask people, and they're like, "Oh, it's a religion. Oh, it's this, it's that." And I had to do some research, and basically what I found is the word Jew means a chosen people, the chosen people. So it dates back to the Bible, and the Jews were the chosen people, chosen by God. And that's it. They're the chosen people. That's why they're persecuted. So, it would have been good to have a description from the Jew. Because, you can be a Jew and not be practicing anything. So it's not specifically limited to religion. It's supposed to be bloodline.
It's heritage and people and things like that.
But what does that mean? What does that even mean? So,
it's tricky. We didn't really get a very good understanding.
We didn't get anything.
Yeah, we didn't get a very good understanding of the...
Because if it's about heritage, that means you can look... It's not about skin colour, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, it is what it is. But yeah, overall, this is, it's been... Okay, let's do it. What do you rate out of 10?
Okay, well, do you know what? I feel like we should bite the bullet and just start the new rating system. We rate it by category.
Let's bite the bullet. So what's the new rating system?
So let's say we start rating, character-wise, plot-wise, ending.
So
did we feel fulfilled by the ending? Obviously, we know it's going to be a 0.
Yeah, but this is too... We've got too much things. You're going to remember all of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already forgotten. But...
Exactly.
I really wanted to get into the character one because I just felt like the only
Character zero.
Oh, come on, it's not zero.
Zero.
Right? It's not zero.
Lally had no.
Boretsky's the only reason.
Boretsky was the
Even
only
I
character.
even got to the point where he said he stumbled into bed drunk and then shot the light bulb out. And I
Oh
was thinking,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
chaotic individual.
Yeah,
Just so we laugh.
yeah, exactly. He was the only character in the book. The rest of them had nothing. They were 2D characters. And is it because they're in a concentration camp? It's not like they got time for hobbies. But like, come on, there was nothing.
Yeah,
there was nothing.
They
They didn't even say, what did Lale and Gita talk about all day?
Who knows? They talked about what we're gonna do when we get out.
Yeah, like
As if they haven't got a sentence. As if they got
yeah,
a nailed on sentence that they're gonna get paroled.
So I'd say 0.
Character development.
Plot.
Why you look at me like that? To be fair, the plot was all over the place.
He didn't even do much tattooing.
It was well, we didn't see him. We didn't see him.
We didn't see what.
Well, he was there for 2 years. I assume he did money because he said every single day there was coming. The chance was coming. He said he'd work all day, yada yada. We didn't see him, and it was very unimportant to his actual character.
Well, what was important was the fucking love scenes and the romance and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's worth reading, and for the historical, element, but. It's worth reading, but it's not anything special.
It was worth a read. I much prefer the first half of the book to the second half of the book. I'm going to say that. Just because the first half of the book, maybe because I thought it was going somewhere or going in a different direction and it actually went, which is probably why I enjoyed the first half more. But I also thought it was going to get, like you said, was going to get a lot more brutality of the Auschwitz. Obviously, there was terrible things going on there. It's not as if we were being underwhelmed by that. We just did get to see the terrible things. We weren't shown them. We wasn't exposed to them, is what I'm trying to say.
Disappointed is what.
Yeah, unfulfilled. Blue balls. Blue balls.
Yeah, no, that's something else. But yeah. All right. Well, we should have a book ready for next week.
We do, actually.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
What do we have?
What about men? What about men?
Okay. Well, now we've got it. How much credits have you got?
Huh?
Have you got enough?
How much what?
Credits.
Yeah. Oh, I got your email, by the way.
Well, I don't think. All right, cool. All right. Well, what is it called?
It's called What About Men?
What
About Men? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Listen.
Got you. No, I got
next
you.
week.
I got you.
Doesn't count.
How does it not count? Do you know what the author
What video is this called? What video is this called?
The Tattooist of Auschwitz.
Exactly. By Heather Morris. But yeah, seriously. Buy every video. Listen, that's cheating.
I got
that's
you.
cheating. Disgrace.
I got you.
Disgrace.